Beautiful, beloved soul family. Gia Ariati here. Message for all, not just for the priestess, but this is very specifically for the priestess, and it is an educational element of interpretation, understanding that of what we might call the Draconian kings and the Anunnaki patriarchy of the old world and how they show up in physical form. And how each and every one of us that is walking this path, if you resonate with me, then you have some connection to the 144, the bringers of change, the Anunnaki, the original divine race, and wanting to walk the path of the new earth. So there is a lot of information on my YouTube channel that you can find around and the Anunnaki. You can find around different consciousness, reptilians, different control structures, exposure of different layers of consciousness, different information, so that we can find our direct source communion and connection. So when you are jumping on these transmissions, please make sure that you take a couple of deep breaths, that you really allow yourself to sit in a level of receivership, because some of the things that I speak into can awaken your DNA. It can open your portal and your channel to information. You can have visions. You can have altered states of consciousness. So this is very important to make sure that you are in a safe space and that you're able to receive this information without causing you or anyone else harm. So I am of sound heart and sound mind. Haven't done that one for a while, but called into speaking into it now. And I am the speaker of truth, the oracle for the 144. So that basically means that I'm a channel. I've gone through much of human experiencing through the multidimensional realms, through galactic consciousness, through cosmic consciousness, through my own past life. Incarnation history. I have done a lot of reconciliation work of timelines, and I am a master teacher of the purity of Isis. So if you haven't heard this before, whether or not it feels true for you, I would like you to always feel into your body. The reason that I speak directly to the priestess is because I run a mystery school to assist the modern day woman to activate her lineage and to come into her unique medicine. Now, for a lot of the women that are being attracted to this now at this time, because it's a little, we'll say, premature to the collective masses, is that most of these women have a direct connection to the divine race. They have a direct connection to the Anunnaki, and they are some of the original creator goddesses and women that have chosen either to carry the lineage forward into the new earth or to purify the lines. So I have direct connection and communion with Nisag and the goddess Isis. Now, through my journey, I have come to understand the Draconian Anunnaki king quite well, or kings, right? So there's 12 original families. In the new earth, there are 13 purified. So when we look at, say, the reptilians, when we look at the Orions, when we look at these 12 constellations, the Syrians, the Lyrans, the Pleiadians, all of the different lineage that have come into the physical Anunnaki beginnings of tribes, they're going through a purification process so that we can bring through the evolvement of their lineage into the new earth and back to the original divine plan, the divine reinstatement of what this reality earth was created for. So without going into too much history, because honestly I could talk in every single dimension for many hours about many things, I want to talk to you about the priestess that hold the Delphic oracle lineage and what they are and why the Draconian kings specifically and these men that are communicators for the Draconian. So whether or not you're the original consciousness. So I think this is a very important one for men and women to understand. How do you know if someone's the original consciousness of this? How do you know if I was this? How do you know if I was that? Well, I mean, in truth, we probably can't say. We probably can't say that you are absolutely this, because there is no DNA that we have on record. There is no way of actually determining, but I can tell you through the realms of remembrance how you can at least have an understanding of whether you are or you aren't. Because I hear people say, I'm Mary Magdalene. I'm like, no, you're not. Sorry, but you're not. You might have Mary Magdalene codes. You might have connection to Mary Magdalene, but you are not the created vessel or the spirit or the soul or the consciousness of Mary Magdalene. Now, when you have an original consciousness, you have to go through the purification of remembrance of their entire history So it wouldn't be enough to just go, well, I'm going to go and purify Cleopatra. You have to go then from who was before Cleopatra, who was after Cleopatra. You need to go through the entire consciousness, spirit, soul lineage from one timeline to the next timeline to the next timeline and see how they actually all hold the same original essence, they hold the same original mission, they hold the same original purpose. So these original goddesses hold a pathway of information from the time-space continuum, from the moment that they embarked on this mission, on this purpose forward. And so the only reference I have is to the goddess Isis. That's one that's most of humanity understands. But the goddess Isis in my previous lifetime was a heroin addict, and her name was Penny. Okay, and Penny was a priestess that was a model, and she had some very big fragmentations and trauma. She wasn't anyone special. She was in Europe, and she had modeling. What do you call that? Contracts. She was assigned and she made big money, but she got involved with the Illuminati rings. And so she went on her savior expedition of helping all of the other models and priestesses and put herself at the effect of just being a completely broken woman that had forgotten her connection to source. So it is important that if you're saying that you are the original of something, or if you perceive that you believe you are, that you need to go through the entire point from this moment of remembrance. What was your last incarnation? What was the one before that? What was the one before that? What information carried through in karmic reconciliation? How did the fragmentation of you creating this technology affect the totality of humanity? It's not an easy path, and it's definitely not one that I would recommend saying just out of spiritual ego that I'm X, Y, and Z, because it comes with a lot of responsibility and it comes with a lot of devotion, which is why the Purity of Isis Mystery School was created, for women that can't walk away from their path. Even if they try, it keeps coming for them. Now, the Delphic Oracle lineage, whether there is an original, of course there is, Delphic Oracle, there is the pathway of the Delphic Oracle. There is all of those women that hold this lineage. Now, this lineage is very much connected to the blue sapphire and the Kundalini current. So they are actually the priestess that have been coded in the physical form to be able to be the channel of knowledge. Now, being the channel of knowledge means that they have access to different libraries, different pathways of what you might consider consciousness information to speak knowledge into the world. Very different to me. I speak prophecy into the world. I speak information into the world. I do a lot of energy readings, and I am more of a priestess of magic, a priestess of purification, and a priestess of wisdom, which is more embodiment of information. It's not knowledge. I don't have a very amazing capacity to speak knowledge, because knowledge is very intellectual. So their channels run through the mind. They're like a big encyclopedia, a big book, but their Kundalini is what allows them to access their mental components, their gut brain and their heart brain, to share knowledge into the world. Now, the Delphic Oracle, along with their sapphire, connects them to divine consciousness. Now, if we look at the Draconian Anunnaki men that are connected to Akhenaten, to Marduk, to actually to the original Satan consciousness, that this masculine energy in its physical form often will come with a medium to tanned skin, sometimes more darker ethnicity, and they are quite big, right? So they have a form where they've got more of a physical, bigger build. They're often, not always, often taller, and they have often got dark eyes, really dark eyes. There's a solidness, but there's also a warmth, right? Because the fire energy. So they have a lot of fire. They have a lot of sacral energy, a lot of sexual charge. They have a intensity with their word and a very deep vocal expression. If this Draconian embodied, and I'm speaking specifically to the masculine, because that's what this transmission is about, is the priestess that are being manipulated by this specific archetypal expression, is that these masculine have a solidness, a density, but what it can be confused about is safety and groundedness. So when you're looking at these men, they have a fullness, which a lot of these priestess, because they're actually quite lean, so they're kind of the polarity. The Delphic oracle in the form of a physical representation is slender. She has lighter green, sometimes blue eyes. She will have either mousy brown hair, dark blonde hair, possibly strawberry blonde, reddish colors. So nothing really dark in her hair color and nothing really light, but it's kind of like the wish-washy between energies. Her physical build will specifically have a face that will have more structure to it because she has a stronger crown and a stronger throat chakra. And this is because the Delphic oracle is the speaker of wisdom, right? They connected to divine consciousness. Divine consciousness is the first thought that was ever formulated. So they have a strong crown chakra and vocal, so their throat, which means their structure of their face is kind of quite unique. It might have a lot of angles, and it could be someone that has more of a model form in their facial structure. These women specifically, through their human incarnation, have had a lot of two major traumas. So one being that of dominance and sexual trauma. So I mean violation energy. So there's violation, not pedophilic. There's a very different expression between that. And this is what's important to understand around the Draconians, is the Draconian they are predators. They are the predator of a woman who sits in victimization, a woman that feels like she's insecure, a woman that doesn't have a voice, a woman that doesn't vocalize. And she, it's like she's a natural submission. So she's naturally a submissive woman, and she actually has a very loving heart, but she's also very... she might be a manager. She might be someone that did really well at school. She might be someone who thinks a lot. She might be someone who intellectualizes life, rather, and loops in these mental paradigms. So this Delphic oracle presentation comes with the violation of early, and this happens early because those Anunnaki beings, those with the agenda, those dark forces, they know spirits that have come into beautiful little vessels, pure and innocent for a mission. It's not like you're not seen. Now, anyone who's woken up, you see your soul tribe in a room. You could be in a room of 100 and go, that one, that one, that one, 3 people in the room. Cool, sweet. That's how you know, because there is a specific light, there is an illumination, there is a remembrance. So these beings will intentionally seek out the priestess, and we have many different archetypes of priestess. We have the Mayan priestess, we have the Egyptian lineage, the Isis priestess, which is the one that I specifically work with, which is the conduit, the channel, the magic, the physical embodiment, and looking at the channels of healing and the channels of the prophecy. So I specifically work with oracles and different things, yet the Purity of Isis Mystery School is for all women that are ready to start to purify, ready to start to remember, ready to start to embody, and to start to share their unique modality, because they do have their own unique medicine. And if they're anything like me, it doesn't matter how far you run from who you are, it will chase you and it will catch up, and those hits will get harder and louder and more uncomfortable. And so you come in here with this, you are this is who you are. Now you can opt out of it. It would mean that your physical human has a spirit that steps out and a new spirit steps in. So just because you are connected to a specific line, or just because you have the remembrance of a specific purpose or a vision of the future. You are a human being with sovereign choice. Your human consciousness is the strongest consciousness of all consciousnesses, because that's the one that's right here talking to you. I get to choose. I get to choose. Okay, maybe my spirit, I'm a two-spirited being, so I had to go through the purification of merging two spirits together to become a 199. Now, if you haven't heard about the 199, it's the evolvement of the 144. There are videos about this. I think I spoke about it in regards to men, but there are women 199. It's two-spirited beings that you go through two purification processes. Not fun, but very helpful if you understand. But you can always ask at any point in time, anyone who's watching this, if you don't like your path, then if you've got two spirits, ask one of them to leave. I don't want you here. I want to just be this one. This one is the most resonant to me. I don't want to do the purification. I don't want to expand my consciousness. Or I do. Choose it wholeheartedly. Choose it in devotion. Choose it in absolute knowing of your pathway forward. So the thing is that these beings are watching you from the point of conception to the point of now, right? There are people that will they will be different technologies. They will watch you in your dream state. They know where you are, because just like me, they're a tracker. I can find anyone in the field. You tell me someone and you start talking to me about them, I know exactly who they are, and I also know how purified they are, and I know what their intentions are, because I can feel them in the field just through you talking about their energy signature. So just because I do that from the side of purity doesn't mean there aren't beings that got the same talents, gifts, and abilities to track that will do it from the opposing force, the opposing side. And so, as one of these Delphic priestesses that's here to be the speaker of knowledge, you are, and all priestess and many other beings of light. I'm not going to speak to the masculine, right? I love you, masculine, but we're not talking to you today. Is that these women will be targets for trauma to specifically activate the nervous system. Now, the nervous system is a key target. So the sexual violation is something that will attack this specific priestess woman, or what they will receive is physical violence, right? So you want something really strong. And that's the Draconian energy. They are aggressive. They are intense. They are overbearing. If it's not physical, then it will be extremely emotionally abusive. So very loud, swearing, threatening, overpowering, overstepping. And this specific fragmentation creates a disconnect from the circuitry within the woman and her ability to be able to be connected to her circuitry, because her nervous system is the direct connection to her circuitry. So her circuitry being that of the ability to receive information, intuition. So as soon as she's not able to receive, she's not able to be on purpose. So her nervous system is the first point of attack. However, you can create a fragmentation in the woman to disconnect her from her nervous system and to create fight, flight, freeze. That way, if you're in fight, flight, freeze, you cannot be on purpose. You cannot use your medicine. You cannot use your gifts. You cannot hear spirit. So nervous system is the number one point of attack, which is why in purity of Isis in the mystery school, we work through nervous system regulation. We work through purifying the major childhood traumas. We work through reclaiming what was taken in those moments, because every fragmentation has something that was lost and taken, given away, or stolen in those moments, and we return them back, and the nervous system regulates, and we teach our body safety, and it's okay to be light, it's okay to be frequency, and we work through many different transmissions: mother wounding, father wounding, dark masculine wounding. We also reclaim the temple of light. We look at our Christos, our connection to Isis, to Mary Magdalene, right? It's like, this is a 333-day intensive mystery school, and it's not for everyone, which is why I'm speaking to this. Those that are choosing it now are the ones that hold a direct connection to the origins of this planet, and they're here to start the pathway of the next phase of the history of the Earth's evolution. And that is a great, great, great big investment of your entire experience. It's not something that you half-ass, and it's not something that you dabble in. It becomes your life. You are the embodiment of your purpose, your medicine, your magic, and the vocal expression of your channel, or the song, or the physical movement, or the mastery. So how do we understand and identify these Draconian energies? Now, I'm not saying that all Draconians are bad, but I'm saying the majority are. Now, we can look at this in the form of psychology. Psychology says that you can't heal a narcissist. You can't. But the narcissist can choose to go through purification. But what does that actually mean? They have to acknowledge their shame. They have to acknowledge their wrongdoing. They have to feel the horrendous acts that they have done based on unconsciousness disconnection. They have to actually feel their ripple effect. Now, that's the reason that the Draconians and narcissistic personalities in the overt manner often don't transform, is because feeling is impossible for a being at this level unless there is conscious choice to break that open. And that's excruciating for someone who hasn't felt, because they really are empty of feeling, sensation, and communion and connection. Now, that any level of narcissism is a lack of empathy or a lack of feeling, right? Now, for a man to completely become the purification of Christos, he has to purify his heart chakra. Now, that process for a man to become Christos embodied means that he has to feel the entire earth, ether, collective, him, others, pain, however short or long, to help with that purification, but the pain and the hurt and the absolute heartbreak of existence. Now, that's a very uncomfortable thing. Many of us women have had moments of this many times over, but men have not. Men don't have this same capacity based on conditioning, biology, Now, with this awareness is that these specific Draconian energies are most likely not going to be choosing purification. So if we could give it a percentage, you're probably at 97.9% will have negative agendas, controlling agendas, hurtful agendas, self agendas, no point of other perspective. And that is where we can just look at things objectively in truth. And if you are able to do this, you can go, well, I'm just not going to spend time with these people, and I'm going to be aware. I've done this a lot. But I see the best in people. Everyone can purify. Everyone's got choice. Yes, everyone does have choice. Everyone has the ability to be disciplined. The problem is that the majority will not consistently choose, and that they will allow their unconscious behaviors to override when it gets too hard. And anyone who is isolating themselves and not allowing themselves to do this in group spaces, or anyone that is over dominant in group spaces, there is like disguises that show up. But for women to identify, he will be magnetic. You'll get that obsessive energy. You'll get this real strong draw and attachment feeling. He will know exactly what words to say to get a woman who's submissive, because he will attack submissive women, not powerful women. Okay. So the submissiveness is a key indicator. Now, that's not necessarily victimized. Submission energy means that there is a level of feminine opening and allowing and awakening into someone else's desires, energy, connection points. Now, it's a positive thing and a negative thing, like all energies. Your greatest gift is your greatest challenge. This specific masculine will leave information out, so he'll be mysterious, very mysterious. Now, that's what draws in the Delphic oracle, because she likes knowledge. She likes to know things. So what will happen is this mysterious nature is, oh, I don't know everything about this individual. Yes, because they're concealing it, hiding it, and they have an agenda. So the mysterious nature, there is a dark presence, but the dark presence is actually coated with a false light frequency. Now, the false light, the way that the Draconian Anunnaki work on hiding their demons and their satanic connection is the way they hook into the priestess. Now, this is where it becomes very important to understand, is that they hook into the channel, the womb, and the yoni of the priestess, and they start to draw on the priestess's light. And when they draw on or siphon, it's not quite siphoning. Siphoning is more reptilian consciousness. This is drawing, this is pulling, this is taking, this is manipulating. And they pull the energy, which makes the priestess start to go a bit crazy, is over, and it comes on the overlay of their, so it's like an auric field that's created over the demon that exists within them. Now, this drawing on this energy drains the priestess. Her nervous system starts to get very activated. She starts to feel like she's going slightly crazy. She starts to question herself a lot. She she'll feel safe. So this is what's very, very confusing about it. She'll feel safe with him, but when she's away from him, she'll feel dysregulated, uncomfortable because of all of the invisible energies and ties. So when she's close to him, he doesn't need to draw on her so much. He doesn't need to keep his hooks in and leech off of her, because she's choosing to be in his presence and give her love and give her attention and make him the focus, which means she's consciously or unconsciously giving him the light source that he needs, which keeps things moving and driving his intention. So this Draconian patriarchal king, their victim is woman. Now, they don't have many male friends, close male friends. So they might have connections with the masculine, but they're often like lone wolf, and they'll surround themselves with more feminine energies. And that's because it's their food source. The awareness is that they will have very strong sexual energy. So the woman will feel very overly sexualized. She'll feel like the object of his attention. She'll feel special. She'll feel like her Kundalini current naturally activates. She thinks it's him activating. It's not. That's the biggest problem, is so many of these men are like, oh, I'm helping you heal, I'm helping you activate. No, that's your remembrance actually coming online based on the energetic dance that takes place. And often the priestess will charge herself up more because she actually knows she's in a place of threat and she needs protection. So she brings in more frequency, more light, more consciousness and connection within her body around these specific beings, but they also know how to maneuver the dance, right? So it's a misperception of what's taking place. They don't activate you. You activate yourself in the remembrance of their presence. And this is where there is many facilitators, tantric teachers, different quantum healers that are actually just manipulating energy and perception. And it's not them that is giving you the amazing healing remembrance or taking you on the journey. It's you in the presence of them. So this is a big challenge, is that this now I have one of these that chases me around reality. And if I have a priestess come into my field and then her wounds, her triggers, her inability to choose her path, being in the presence of a mirror of her own power is too much, she steps away. And the interesting thing about it is when she steps away, she walks into his field. So his always watching the priestesses of Isis. And as soon as she doesn't choose her path, she becomes at the effect of the contrast of karma to play it out in the opposing energy. So what I'm trying to say is that when we are this, when we are a priestess, a goddess, when we have our queen energy, if we walk away from what we are, we will find who we are through the contrast of karma, through the density, through the lessons. We don't have to learn lessons that way. And that's one of the reasons that I've walked the realms of hell and into the darkness, is to say, I did it that way. You don't actually have to do it that way. You can choose to see who you are with conscious choice. You can choose to reconcile. You can choose to be aware. You can choose to not wear the blindfolds. You can choose to lean into the discomforts. You can choose to walk away from those that are toxic and unhealthy for you. You can choose to reconcile and come into the truth of who you are, but it is all choice. And you have a choice to do it through ease and grace or through challenge, karma, and destruction. And so the purity of Isis is a school that allows for more ease, grace, and pathways of consciousness of purification. It is like a temple. It is exactly like going into the purity, into the Isis temples in Egypt and going through the purification Baraka process. It's just a modern day version that is over the internet that brings all of those practices from the realms of focus and our current reality to be able to come into the stepping into the embodiment and the magic of who you are. I think one of the major things to be aware of, okay, they don't want you to be knowledgeable. So you're going to start to have crazy brain. You're not going to be able to start to speak and communicate. And the attack point is your kundalini. Dysregulate the nervous system. The things to be aware about with them is the predatory energy, the mysteriousness, the lack of accountability and ownership, and the ability to manipulate around conversations. So doing a very amazing dance with indirect answering, indirect communication, and weaving. You can ask a question and you'll get an answer and being like, that. So that's a major thing. There will be silencing of you so that you start to think it's you. So they'll flip the switch on you and then they'll go into silence and they won't talk to you, and then they'll come back in. And they'll come back in when you're about to go through a breakthrough. So if you have someone that's consistently in your field like this, it's because they'll come back in, they'll silence you, then they'll come back in and you're like, oh, I'm doing so well. It mustn't be them, it must be me. And you allow them in this space. All they want to do is get their hooks back into you and detour you from your pathway forward, because that's what they are. They're the biggest detours. They're the biggest distractions from power, potency, and magic. So before I go further, if you are in the recognition that you are a priestess, that you are one of the divine race, if you are connected to the goddess lineage, if woman's embodiment is important for you as an individual, then what I would ask is that you contact me directly with your email so I can send you 3 initiations. These are free initiations. They are for all women that are thinking about mystery school, that are thinking about, actually, I don't want my life to control me anymore. I want to clear my patriarchal wounds. I want to get rid of the toxic relationships that I'm in. I want to start to walk the path of my purpose and my dharma. I want to begin remembering. And that's what this is. It's through these pathways of remembrance, reconciliation, transformation, and temple arts that the truth of who you are can be revealed. And you can start to merge with that and be all of you and create the life that is your soul. So my email, if you would like to receive these transmissions, is Giaya, Geeia, at GiayaAriati.com. and I can send those through for you. You can receive the codes, the frequencies, the information, and maybe that's all that you need. Maybe that's all you're ready for. Maybe this was all you needed. Maybe this was the message of God saying, careful of that one over there. Oh, maybe I am that of someone with a great capacity of knowledge, and I'm here to speak knowledge into the world. And yeah, I hope that this has landed in a way that is supportive to you. If you would like to further any of your mystery school teachings, we have a New Earth Mystery School that is for man and woman, and we're currently on the initiation pathway of Divine Partnership, which is about men and women coming into the sacred Holy Grail Trinity of self, other, God, and the foundations of New Earth framework, and how we bring ourselves into unity consciousness, specifically in our physical embodiment. So today we'll be talking about the mirror effect, and we'll be going through a lot of processes of understanding that. One of the most powerful things for me as an individual, as a human being in a world that is very loud, was understanding this, and how if it was in my mirror, it was within me, and I had a way to meet the aspects of myself in every single moment, rather than sitting in process or journaling or doing all of those things. And it helped me to see what I am is what I mirror out, and what I attract into the world. So it's actually a very profound concept, and it has a lot of different pathways of information for each and every one of us to understand self and other and God a lot more. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one, you will find that in my link tree, or links to the services that I provide. Until then, probably we'll be doing a lot more on different priestess energies, archetypes, and what they are and what's going on. But this one for now is off in the ether and to the Facebook, to the YouTube realms. I love you, I love you, I love you. Until next time, Adonai.